Yes! Oh, Jesus! What do you want this time? So, anyone who's played Elden Ring has probably ran into Ranni the Witch, right? Well, chances are you came across this item. Yep, I'm gonna make a Ranni the Witch doll in real life. Let's get started, shall we? Okay, just really quickly, I just want to start out by saying if you want a hint on the next video, check out the end of this one, once we get to that point. But as you can see here, we're starting off very, very differently. I don't think I've ever done this method of armature wire before. And basically I got two rolls of aluminum wire and unrolled them and then kind of twisted them together. I wanted to make sure to make the feet with the wire this time instead of just leaving a nub because she's going to need to be supported by her feet. This one isn't being drilled into a base, it's going to be posable, so it needs to have actual feet that function. It was a little tricky figuring out the four arms, but I eventually got them. And here I'm adding extra reinforcement to the legs because the legs bear most of the weight of this piece. And you can see a little bit of the wire protruding out of the back of the foot, and the reason for that is balance reasons. I sacrificed a little bit of accuracy. I do that a bit on this piece, just because it's a doll. There were some corners I had to cut, but they were done so intentionally. And there's only going to be a few pieces of clay on this entire thing, which are the feet, the hands, the head, and the hat. That's pretty much all the clay that I end up using. Nice brushing of some clay softener there. Here's the little fingers. This was a little annoying doing 4 different hands. Now I guess there's ways to go about recasting these, but I don't have the materials for that, so I just went ahead, bit the bullet, and sculpted each of them by hand. And they all look really similar. And as you can see here, I like to do a little ball where the thumb would be to replicate, like if you were to look down at your hand right now, there's a little ball where your thumb connects to your hand. So that's what the point of that is. Okay, and I'm doing the head how I've been doing them recently, which is just half of the head onto a plain wooden block, and I'm just adding the facial details. I don't really have an exact science to this, I just kind of feel it out. But one thing I will advise when you're doing faces, you want to take clay away instead of adding to it. Like the only pieces I add really are the nose and the lips. Everything else I try to like kind of carve out of it. Okay, we got a nice little layer of clay softener again. You want to make sure it's very thin when you're doing the face, otherwise you dilute your details. Unless you're trying to dilute some of the details, but you just want to be very sparingly using that. And another difficult aspect to this piece was the hair. Oh my god. It looks kind of silly right now. It still kind of ends up looking silly. And you can see here there's that white clay, which is ultralight. And the reason for that is because I don't want her head to be too heavy to where her neck can't hold up the weight of her head. So I end up doing the rest of the hair and this hat with that same kind of clay. Okay, and if you're extremely familiar with this character, you'll know she has this like little like tiara looking chain thing on top, like going around her hat. I decided to leave that out, one because I simply don't have the skills to do something that intricate, and two, I don't have the skills to do something that intricate. I played a little bit with the primer. I added a little texture just by dabbing the paintbrush on the surface of the paint primer there. So it gave it like a little bit of a texture, which is what I wanted. So it worked really nicely. So you can, unlike how I mentioned in my Nimrod video, you can use that primer to make textures to your advantage. Okay, I'm gonna brush the entire surface of everything that I've painted with some Mod Podge just to seal it. You could use a spray varnish as well. I just like the Mod Podge, it's what I'm used to. Okay, now I'm locking most of the body in place with some hot glue. And now I glued everything on off camera. Now what this stuff is that I'm wrapping around the leg right now is called quilt batting. And that's just to give a little bit of bulk to the limbs and body. Okay, and this is athletic foam wrap. This stuff goes over the batting to kind of compress it a little bit, make it more tight. Looking back, I probably would have wrapped everything a little bit more tighter off camera, just because doing this on camera was a little annoying. But it gets covered up by cloth anyway, so. And guys, I'm not a fashion designer. This was very hard for me. We play with clay on my channel, so messing around with fabrics was a little bit stressful because I don't know what I'm doing. I had to look up a template online. I think I got the effect pretty good. But again, I'm not a fashion person, so. Also, the fur that I used for her cloak is fake, guys. It's not real fur. Alright, so she's pretty much getting wrapped up here. As I mentioned earlier, I left a couple details out, I know. I did what I could. So, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and get excited for this next video. It's going to be great.
What we do here is go back.
Alright, I hope this video was insightful for anyone who is inspired to make a Ranni doll from Elden Ring. Now, the fabric work was a little tricky for me because I don't know what I'm doing, but I think she turned out pretty well. So, if you enjoyed the content, consider dropping a like, a comment, and if you really liked it, consider subscribing. Here's a little hint for next video. She was a boss in Dark Souls 3, and she's gonna be dancing her way onto my channel. Peace.